All right, welcome back to another video. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter one today. I want to get to a video conference at 1:30. So last video was a great video, probably one of the best I've had on this channel so far, because I just set up basic BGP route reflector topology, but I was able to do that completely with the built-in help, because I got a full example with 5 routers for how to do that. And yeah, I could figure it out on my own. BGP route reflection really isn't all that complicated. You just need a cluster ID, and then you need to know to make your neighbor relationships just to the route reflector. But as long as you know those two things, that's pretty much all you need to know. I think there are some like more fine-tuning things you can do about like which, where the traffic goes, that sort of thing. But for the most part, it's really not that complicated. But what I did in the last video that I think kind of moved it into that territory of being one of the best videos I've done is I just wrote out a pretty simple Python script using Paramiko. And I logged into a random router. I used the random library to pick out a random router of the 5 routers I had. And then I did a show configuration pipe display set and picked out a random line, and then went into configuration mode and deleted one of those lines as a troubleshooting exercise. So if you bear with me here for a moment, I've got my flight problem has been, for the most part, fine, but they come back. It's kind of weird. Like there's a few days where they're like completely a problem, and then for like a week or a month they're totally fine, and then they come back. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but it's not buzzing in my face or on the window, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, that was probably one of my favorite videos I've done, just because I've had that concept in my mind for a while, and I've never really had the time to sit down and do it. And I was able to do it just over the course of those 3 hours, and I didn't even start coding until like the last part of the video. So really in my mind, it was like a concept that would only take me like an hour to implement, and that turned out to be the case. So really happy that I actually had an accurate assessment of how difficult that would be, and that it turned out, and I was able to troubleshoot neighborship statements being deleted, SSH service being shut off, and getting a good sense of what might even happen on the test, because from what I understand, they will go in and delete some of your commands or change them, and it's important for you to be able to figure out what's the difference is and look at fine details in the configuration as well as the show commands. So this video, I'm going to be moving on. I think that I did a full, Chris Mills, yeah, I'm preparing for the NBA to come back. I originally was from Wisconsin, so the Bucks being good is just too fascinating for me to ignore. So rooting for them, but for the most part, I'm working towards this exam. So, yep. So let's continue on with the next topic, which is going to be multi-homing. So I didn't I didn't say this was done yet, because I thought I might have needed another video to play around with that script and stuff. But I think I'm fine just with the one. I think it's good to mark this complete, and then I get a bunch of time back. Hopefully I can just blaze through this topic as fast as possible, because I think I did it justice in my video series for the 960 before I pivoted to the 961. Okay, so let's prepare the notes file. So I'm going to have my tags, and I'm going to have my title. So hopefully it wasn't too hard to find. I just included my whole, I included my whole description in the description. I included my whole script that I use, so you can just copy paste that in there. You might need to, of course, make some changes. You're going to have a different username. You're going to have different routers, but this is just the basic thing. This here has been a lifesaver for me because it's been really unreliable using Paramiko. You don't get back the full output. You know, it's just been a nightmare until I just sat down and I'm like, okay, well, how can I make this easier on myself? And I wrote this function, and ever since then, using Paramiko has just been a dream. So there you go. You can have it. It's out there. I'm not really seeking credit for it. I just I want to be able to find it and use it myself again. So having it as public as possible means that I can find it, because I'm not going to sit down and write that out again. That was a pain to come up with. Okay, so I'm just trying to get the bar. So yeah, I'm just being lazy. I'll just type it out myself. I don't need to copy and paste it over. So we're moving on from route reflections. So we've got to change out the tags. And yeah, I wanted this because I think this might go into multiple videos, just because this one's going to be short, this video. So yeah, we're probably not going to be doing any of this anymore. I mean, we might, but I can just add that back in if we are. So this topic is BGP. We're moving on to configuration and troubleshooting. So all of this is right, but instead of route reflection, we're going to be doing multi-homing. Okay, so we're doing multi-homing. So let's do the tried and true method to figure out how to approach this topic. So we'll go to router E, and then we'll log in because the cron job triggered. So it's at the login prompt now. And we'll do help apropos. And then we'll do multi. Well, let's do BGP because this is BGP multi-homing. So pipe match help pipe match multi. So we've got VPLS multi-homing. We've got okay, so let's take a look at VPLS multi-homing, because BGP can be used as a signaling protocol for VPLS. So I'm not sure if that's what they mean when they say that they want me to learn about how to configure and troubleshoot BGP multi-homing. Do they mean BGP multi-homing when used as the signaling protocol for VPLS, or do they mean a more generic vanilla version of BGP multi-homing? But let's just read this. Configure multi-homing on the PE router when a CE device is connected to the same VPLS site on more than one PE router. Include the multi-homing statement on all associated PE routers. Configuration of this statement tracks BGP peers. If no BGP site is available, VPLS deactivates all active interfaces for a site. To specify that the PE router is part of a multi-home VPLS site, include the multi-homing statement. Multi-homing, you can configure this statement at the following hierarchy levels. Include the multi-homing statement on all PE routers associated with a particular VPLS site. Okay, so that was interesting. It wasn't quite what we're looking for here. So let's do help BGP, or help topic, BGP examples. And now we learned in the last video that there's actually some hidden content that doesn't show up if I just do a pipe match for help. So we can see lots of extra examples here. So I don't see anything for multi-homing. So you know what? I might even take it to mean that it's when it's in a VPLS, because I know that sort of thing is very important to have a mastery of if you were going to work in an ISP for real, because when you're, it's an internet service provider, so the way you provide internet to a lot of businesses like banks or chains or something like that is through a VPN, just to connect all their locations together. So that's a really important skill to practice and master if you want to work in a ISP. So I assume that's going to be a big part of this exam, if the exam prepares you to work at an ISP. So I think if I can't find anything here, I will do that. And I don't see anything for multi-homing. Yeah, I wish you could pipe the question mark. You can't though. So I see multiple paths. Let's look at that. Maybe that has to do with multi-homing. I really doubt it though. So I don't see anything about multi-homing, but one thing that's nice is we get a full example for this one again. So it looks like that examples is actually really nice. Let's see. Let's do pipe match home. See if there's anything. Nope, there's nothing about multi-homing. There's just multi-path. So yeah, let's do the. So help topic VPLS. Let's see if there's any VPLS examples. Okay, so here's an example for BGP route target filtering. Okay, so I don't see anything I need, and the purpose is to get some good practice in now. So I'm going to be searching for multi-homing, BGP multi-homing. So Juniper BGP multi-homing. So yeah, I don't think there's really anything for just straight up BGP multi-homing. I think what they're saying is, or what they're getting at is VPLS multi-homing. That's what this is about. So even though it's not under the VPLS section, it's just they can't say everything has to do with VPNs. So normally I would expect it to be under here, but under there is kind of a blank slate. So I think this will have yeah, this is VPLS multi-homing. So we're going to do that, configuring VPLS multi-homing, and we'll take the help apropos as our first resource. So yeah, here's BGP multi-homing. It just specifically calls it out. So this might be good as well. Okay, so those are going to be our two internet sources we're going to be focusing on. And in addition to that, just anything we can find on the help apropos we'll be using as well. Unfortunately, I do need to take a quick break, but I think I'll be back and be able to do another 15-20 minutes before I've got to end the video. So I'll be back soon. All right, so I'm back. I got at least I've got 20 minutes, at least 20 minutes. I want to get there 1:30, but I can be a little late. So let's see here. We've got what was I doing? Okay, so yep, I've got I think this is the one I want to focus on because it's more specifically about BGP multi-homing and not necessarily about VPLS. So BGP multi-homing enables you to connect a customer site to 2 or more PE routers. And I've got a distraction again because I've always got a distraction. So this is one of the things I'm actually not doing super well at, I think, because during the test, there could be a fly buzzing in my face during the test. And I could flag down the proctor. I could, you know, there's things I could do, but ultimately, I don't know what the proctor could do. Could it even kill the fly? Do they have Windex? So, and then if they spray Windex, I'm going to be breathing in Windex, which in my experience has been not fun. Not only that, I'm going to need to be wearing a face mask because that's the new policy. And I used to have one that I liked, but I have lost it, of course, because I lose everything. But I do have some old socks laying around, and there's a great video about how to make that into a mask. So I think I'm gonna read these with this on, because the way things are in the United States, and it's not like this in other countries, because there hasn't been a governmental response to do contact tracing and that sort of thing, so that the pandemic is not quite as big of an issue. But in the United States, it's going to be like this. So when I take the test, I'm probably going to be wearing this. Now, granted, I won't need to talk while I'm taking the test, except to the proctor. But talking now, wearing this, I can barely breathe, for one. My breathing is very labored right now. For two, these are clean socks, but I still don't really like the smell of even fresh, clean cotton up against my face. So I feel like I'm gonna gag. And three, my ears hurt right now a lot. And four, my glasses no longer can stay on because my ears are bent down. So I am probably going to have to take the test like this. Like, this is how I'm going to have to take the test. And to be honest, I'm lucky I can even take the test at all. The CCIE, all the test centers are completely closed. So I guess what I can do is buy a new mask. I had one that I liked before. I'm sure it wasn't as effective as this one, but it's any mask is more effective than no mask, because it's about, say, don't spray it. But yeah, so if I'm complaining about flies buzzing in my face, you know, that's going to be easier to ignore than something ripping my ears off of my head. So you know, every time I complain about a fly buzzing in my face, I guess I need to put one of these on and be like, oh, this is going to be, you know, this is what I'm going to have to tolerate on the test. And then of course I'm going to have test mates who are going to be farting, burping, and sneezing in my face while I'm taking the test. It's just not fun. Again, you know, I've had multiple videos where I've kind of discussed whether I even think it's a good idea to take anymore now that I'm not working in an ISP. But I think that kind of backing to my career, that expert level validation is going to be really important for me. So all right, and I finally got the fly, so don't have that distraction anymore. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be doing the rest of this video with this mask on. Yeah, and you see my glasses don't even stay on with it. So mask can come off. Fly's gone, so let's try to finish up this reading. Hopefully it doesn't take any longer than 15 minutes. And then I will see you in the next video where I get down to the hands-on. Bgp Multihoming for VPWS overview. Bgp Multihoming enables you to connect a customer site to 2 or more PE routers to provide redundant connectivity while preventing the formation of layer 2 loops in the service provider's network. The redundant connectivity maintains the VPWS service and traffic forwarding to and from the multi-homed site in the event of a PE router to CE device link failure. The failure of a PE router or an MPLS reachability failure between the local PE router and a remote PE router. Oh, okay. These are all. So the redundant connectivity maintains the VPWS service. Okay, that just takes me to the same thing. And traffic forwarding to and from the multi-home site in the event of a PE router to CE device link failure, the failure of a PE router, or an MPLS reachability failure between the local PE router and a remote PE router. A redundant PE router can begin providing service to the customer site as soon as the failure is detected. Bgp Multihoming is very similar for both VPLS and VPWS, with only minor differences in behavior between the two L2 VPN types. Multi-homing is not applicable for VPWS local cross connects because the local and remote CE devices are connected to the same PE. When a device connects to multiple PE routers, each of these routers advertises reachability for the multi-home site. The other PE routers in the network use a BGP path selection process to select only one of the advertising routers to which they send traffic destined for the CE device. This path selection process eliminates layer 2 loops in the VPWS network. Best practice to prevent the creation of layer 2 loops due to a misconfiguration or temporary loops during a topology change and subsequent convergence. We recommend that you employ the spanning tree STP, spanning tree protocol on your CE devices. You specify on each CE router connected to the CE device in the, okay, I'm gonna have to open up a window. That Windex really is not fun. Either that or bring in my air filter. Okay, there we go. So now, of course, we're gonna have distractions from the street, but I'll be able to breathe. You specify on each PE router connected to the CE device in the VPWS that a site is multi-homed, and you can configure a priority. The priority serves as a site preference and is propagated by BGP in the local preference attribute. You configure the same site ID, sometimes referred to as a VEID, on these connected PE routers. Each of these routers then advertises reachability for the multi-homed site. The VPWS NLRI contains the site ID. The site ID shared by the connected PE routers should be different than the site IDs configured on the remote PE routers in the VPWS network. If the site ID is not different, then the pseudo wire will be in a site collision state. The remote routers then use the site ID to identify where to forward traffic destined for the customer site. Although the site ID is the same for all connected PE routers. That was a very loud noise coming from outside. I don't know what that was. The block offset label range, the route distinguisher, can be different. Although the site ID is the same for all connected PE routers, the block offset label range and route distinguisher can be different for each CE router. The BGP path selection process uses the block offset and label range only to determine whether a layer 2 advertisement is relevant to the multi-home customer site. A route distinguisher is helpful to uniquely identify a particular CE router when you are troubleshooting a network. Okay, and I'm gonna put on the fan to okay, so all I want to do is finish up this reading, and then why is it so noisy over there? Okay, it's a car. All right. It's kind of insane how much sound that just a simple window plane will suppress. So I think I finished reading here. My mind's kind of a mess right now, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember reading any of this. Okay, I remember this part because I read that twice, so I think I'm right here. The PE routers run the BGP path selection process on the locally originated and received layer 2 route advertisements to establish that the routes are suitable for advertisements to other peers, such as route reflectors. For this selection process, the routes advertise different prefixes distinguished by the site ID, block offset, and route distinguisher. The remote PE routers then run a modified selection process on these selected routes for L2 VPN multi-homing. Because all the prefixes advertised by multi-home local PE routers share the same site ID, the set of routes advertised for a multi-homed site effectively consists of multiple routes to a single prefix distinguished by the site ID alone. Therefore, the result of the second selection process is the single best path to the multi-homed site. The PE router that originates this advertisement then becomes the designated PE device for the multi-homed customer site. When the designated VE device is determined for both the local and remote customer sites for the VPWS, then a VPWS pseudowire is created between the designated VE devices. The BGP best path selection process is run only on the core VPN address family. This first selection process does not consider the status vector bit for the VPWS or the down bit for VPLS. Okay, and I'm going to put on these. I almost forgot that I had these. The layer 2 multi-homing decision process is run only in the non-core VPWS or VPLS layer 2 unicast address families. This second decision process treats prefixes with the same site ID but different RDs as unique prefixes. When the PE router receives a layer 2 BGP advertisement that has the down bit set, inbound policy sets the local preference attribute to 0. The selection process can then choose an existing route from an alternate PE router if available. When a PE router in a VPWS domain is also a BGP route reflector, RR, the path selection process to determine the VE device for the multi-home site has no effect on the path selection process performed by this PE router for the purpose of reflecting layer 2 routes. Layer 2 prefixes that have different route distinguishers are considered to have different NLRI for route reflection. This result of the L2 VPN multi-homing decision process enables the route reflector to reflect all routes that have different route distinguishers to all other route reflector clients, even though only one of these routes is used to trigger the VPWS pseudowire to the multi-home site. Okay, now I feel perfect. I got fresh air in here. It's not too noisy. Everything's great. Unfortunately, I've only got about 5 minutes left, but that might be enough to, it's certainly enough to cross this out because I finished reading it. So we'll do that. All right, now that might even be enough to just do some simple reading here of an overview. So definitely not going to be able to read this whole overview here. So this is multi-homing. Let's go to the Bgp user guide. So this is the VPLS user guide. I know that Juniper has a feature guide for BGP. yeah, here we go. And I can link that as well. Okay, so let's expand all and let's look for multi-homing. We'll just start with multi. So we got multi-protocol, multi-path, multi-hop. But it looks like that's all we got. Just multi-hop. So we don't have anything for multi-homing for just BGP. So I really think they are talking about BGP used as a signaling protocol within another technology such as Vpls. One thing I am curious about is you often have, yeah, you have what on this pages here. So you might have hidden topics, like multi-homing might be a hidden topic under multi-protocol BGP. So that's kind of too bad. But I think we can do multi-home or multi-home like this. Let's, oh God, then there's another fly landed right on my hand. And I can't spray my keyboard. So I can push it off the keyboard though. Come on. It's not even flying away. I wonder if I can just get it. Yeah, okay. Well, that's weird. I've never seen a fly behave like that. Okay. So, yeah, flies are quite a bit different in Texas too. In Wisconsin, the flies, you cannot swat a fly. It's impossible. But in Texas, you can swat it right out of the air. They're just too fast in Wisconsin. Maybe because of the heat. Maybe they're slower in the heat. I don't know. It's not related to these tests, so I don't really care that much. I mean, if there's flies in the testing center, that will suck. And it probably will be scorpions too, snakes, tarantulas crawling all over my face while I'm taking this test. But I think I'm at the level where I can probably still pass it if that were to happen. All right, so yeah, I figured just include this guide here, but I think the main hands-on that I'm gonna do is gonna be this multi-homing here, and unfortunately I am out of time. So yep, we've got all sorts of BGP configurations. So yep, this is what I'm gonna be doing. Yep, for the hands-on, but I'll be doing that in the next video. So until then, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.